Well, I see I let the time slip by till 4:45 instead of 4:44. That's strange. It's only because I was ready to begin and I noticed I forgot to light this candle, which I always light last. And I went back to light it, and when I turned back around, it was 4:45. Anyway, um, the people that were here at my house last night, especially the ones that arrived early, would probably be a little bit surprised by today's video. I did have 10 people plus me last night, which was a surprise and much appreciated for the local turnout. In fact, I had 3 people that had never been here before, uh, I don't know that I've had 3 newbies at any single, well, yes, I have in Love Lines. Yes, I have had newbies on, and Love Line is next week with Margie. Anyway, in a different place today. I've been awake for a long time, since between 2 and 2:30. And the title that I've selected is 2012, The Court of Heaven is Transformative, Not Punitive. As recent events regarding my arrest swirled in my thoughts, my emotions became chaotic. Never in my life have I felt so violated. Never in my life have I wanted to be vindicated more. Who was responsible? I asked for help. Several responded, providing their point of view. There was little agreement. That produced even more confusion for me. This morning, Spirit seems to be providing more clarity, which is what I've been asking for in this surreal situation. The title is the clue. Let me go back to when I first got the notice of summons in the mail that didn't give any indication what it was about, and I was unable to find what it was about online. It said, sorry, that information is not available. And then I provided a document to the court saying that I needed more information in order to respond properly, and informing them of my UCC-1, which is my claim of right and an admiralty contract in law that's been on file with the state over 2 years. And I pointed that out to them because there's tremendous information in that document, which is, again, filed with the state and the courts. So there's no excuse that they didn't know my standing. In any case, I thought, what could this be? Now, I knew I had been driving without a license for a long time, but I also knew that the only time that I was ever stopped for driving without a license, after about a 20-minute conversation, the police says, just go home. I recommend that you get a license, but just go home. He didn't ticket me. He didn't give me, he obviously didn't arrest me. He didn't do any of the things that he initially said he was able to do after talking with me, because we talked it out. But the first thing that came to mind when I got the summons was that I remembered a couple or a few weeks back, I was traveling to my meeting on a Thursday morning, probably, as near as I can remember, although it might have been something else up in that area. And I cut a red light fairly close. In fact, it changed as I entered the intersection. And it's one of those red lights that had the camera on it. And so my thought was, okay, they got me cutting a light too close. From my point of view, I did not run the light, but as I said, I cut it close. So that was what I thought the summons was about. But they didn't tell me. They show up and arrest me. Now, by law, when they arrest somebody, they have to serve the arrest warrant, and they have to read you your rights. Well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all, ever. That was a violation of my rights. But I'm wondering, why would they issue an arrest warrant? Who was responsible for this? And the first thing that came to mind is, well, it's got to be the attorney in the thing with the bank to try to steal my home. It has to be that. She's the only one that would have motivation to try to get back at me, because I've made things so hard for her in standing up for my rights. But then when I went to the meeting last Thursday, one of the people there really, and I mentioned this before, one of the people really took issue with me, saying it's your fault. You should have gotten a license. That's the law. You're supposed to do that. You've been driving without a license for a long time. I see you every week driving without a license. And that same individual has on at least a couple or three other occasions hammered me on this issue. And so what began to play in my mind was, he did it. He actually went and filed a complaint against you. And that was working on me. And I didn't like even the thought, but the more I tried to push it down, the more it would come back, because there were too many coincidences that seemed to provide the evidence that my mind was looking for. And I talked to a couple of my friends in the past couple of days about this, and the one that I talked to yesterday said, no, I don't think he would ever do that. He may feel that way, but he would not turn you in, so to speak. That's just not his nature. That would not be his belief system, to actually turn you in on something, even if he strongly disagrees with you. Anyway, I asked, as I've been asking Spirit, and I asked her again, help me get clarity on this. Help me see through this thing. And then somebody sent me an email yesterday about how we are losing our rights in our society, and the highways are becoming an extension of the prison planet, because they have these cameras all over the place that spy on us. Aha. Now I think I know how the arrest warrant and the evidence to provide for it came. It came from cameras. I felt really clear when I read that. Dude, it's not an individual fighting you. It's not an individual trying to get you. It's cameras. It's the spy network. Okay, I hadn't totally even played that before I went to bed last night. I mean, I saw it. I recognized it when people came last night, when my friend Steve came. He was agreeing with some people about neutrality, and I said, Steve, you can't be neutral. Where there's injustice, you can't be neutral. And he says, but you're the one that taught me about being neutral. Well, yeah, I did. Because I believe neutrality is important, and yet it's not important. Ah, the paradox. So as I was meditating, and it was a very prolonged meditation today, even before I got out of bed, I laid there with these thoughts going over and over in my mind. What the police state has done in many countries is set up these cameras to spy on people. They're all over England. They're all over Washington, D.C., and they're intruding into many states and in Canada, and I don't know how far and widespread this issue is. I saw something different. Instead of the police state trying to steal our rights, which it's doing, I mean, I'm not making excuses for the police state. It's doing that. But I saw something else. There's no place to hide from the court of heaven. Every action every one of us takes, including the criminals that are using the system to their own advantage and to the disadvantage of everyone else, they're all being caught on camera. It's all being recorded. And every one of us is going to be accountable according to what is in our heart. It's not personal. That was what was coming. It's not personal. Even the policeman that came here and did what he did, he followed his training. And the police have been trained incorrectly. And the people that have been hired to do the training are hired by the criminals that want to control the world. So the training is misinformation. It's not teaching officers and soldiers and all these other people about their oath of office and what it means and what natural rights are. It's not teaching them that. And in a sense, they are innocent, in a sense, because that's the information they've been provided. So see, Spirit's bringing me back to a place of somewhat neutrality. But it was also clear as I meditated that Spirit is on the side of justice. It does take the side of light being stronger than darkness, of truth being stronger than lies, and of justice being more powerful than injustice. This is the natural way of it, though it seems inverted, though it seems inside out and upside down. The natural way of things is for justice. From the court of heaven's point of view, all of this drama that's being played out in 3D is about transforming ourselves from ignorance to wisdom. It's about recognizing, I get it. I finally get it. But we have to, it's not handed to us on a silver platter. We've got to figure it out the hard way, through trial and error, through a school of hard knocks, where we bump up against everything that's wrong, and we arise within us all the emotions, all the feelings that we've been so well trained to put down. And I'm trying to tell you, you don't have to put them down. You see me express with passion, and people would say with anger. Well, yes, I was damned angry. I was violated. My rights were trampled by the system. And as I go to ask for help on how to do this thing, I get people trying to tell me to operate below the line. Well, the traffic court's going to be doing this, and you got to know how the traffic court works. No. There's a line. And above the line, when you're looking at it from above the line, you are on the top. And the Constitution is your protection against the government, which is underneath. And any other viewpoint is incorrect. I learned that from Fred and Nina and the advanced freedom training. Everything is a matter of rights. Rights granted by constitutions. Rights granted even in the Charter of the United Nations. Rights that are recognized by humanity. Now, the people that are running the world, they think they can get away with abusing other people's rights. But from the court of heaven, no. And Linda provided last night a little spark when she said, God is working things out, or the Creator is working things out to recreate the conditions on earth that's like the Garden of Eden. Now, since she's trying to do it from a scientific viewpoint and what the scientists say, she had a lot of what for me is disinformation, because I don't trust the scientists, at least not the ones that work for the governments. They're liars like everything else. But the point is, yes, Spirit is trying to restore things to a level where there is justice, where there is peace on earth, where there is compassion, where there is love. And my friend Steve said when he first heard what happened to me, he prayed for the for the deputy that came and arrested me and for his family. And initially, so did I. But then, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen? Why was this allowed to happen? I'm so violated. I feel so horrible that they had the nerve to violate their oath of office, to violate my rights, to violate due process of law. They had, where the hell were they? Why is this? And I wanted them to be punished. I wanted at the very least, monetary punishment. And what Spirit is saying, Ron, we're in a time right now that everybody is going to be accountable for everything he or she did. And it's not about punishment. It's about getting people to recognize and take responsibility for his or her own actions. And it's about transforming the perception from one of vengeance to one of forgiveness, to one where there can be actual healing and transformation take place in people's lives. That's what Spirit is doing in 2012. That's the message that I was getting today. And so insofar as how I'm going to respond to the court, it's going to be. And Spirit put that in me right away. And then I asked for help, and people say, well, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. All of that's well and good, but is it about the Constitution? And they say, well, the Constitution doesn't apply in traffic court. The Constitution applies everywhere. Everywhere, in every court. Every court is subject to the law of the land and the court of heaven. Every court on earth is. Every judge is. Every attorney is. Every prosecutor is. Every sheriff and law enforcement person is. Every military person is subject to the court of heaven. And the Constitution is a divine document produced that shows us what our rights are, our unalienable and unalienable rights. It shows us what our natural rights are, that we have the right to life, liberty, and happiness. We have the right to be free and to be able to conduct ourselves with that freedom, with that liberty, without being imposed upon by a corrupt system, such as what is happening now. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm not telling you I have the answer as to how Spirit's going to do this. But I was given the assurance this morning as I meditated, Ron, it's all under control. It's all under control. You don't need to figure it out. You just need to respond as lovingly as you can, but you don't have to give in to injustice. You don't have to lay down and let them walk all over you. You can stand up for what's true. Standing in truth is always correct. Standing in love is always correct. Standing in the light is always correct. Always. Standing up for justice is always correct. It's not that you're fighting individuals. You're standing up for principles. And that's the message that Spirit shared with me and the message that I'm sharing with you. Let's stand up for the principles of truth. Let's stand up for the principles of righteousness. Let's stand up for the principles of love and recognize that everything that is happening in our world from the point of view of Spirit is a transformative event. Every event is a transformative event, and it's not about punishing anybody. It's about getting us to see so that we can all come home. Went a little bit longer today, but I thank you for listening. It was important. Namaste.